bank operations, the way we use it here and that we do so much of, is if you think about the sort of day in, day out business of running a traditional old-fashioned bank branch, and then you add on the layers of today's banking, where a lot of folks may walk into a branch a couple of times in a year, if in a lifetime, and banking's done in the cloud and all. A lot of the same issues still pertain. So if you take the business of a bank, and let's put aside the work that banks do with their customers about their investments, helping them with their investments, what we sometimes call private banking. You put that aside. And you put aside the lending part, the mortgage loans, the home equity lines of credit, and all of that. What that leaves is really the traditional banking function of taking deposits, checking accounts, savings accounts, helping businesses with their customer interactions with their banking, so wire transfers, electronic payments these days, and all of that. And then interacting with customers that walk in and out of a branch or use the ATMs. All the issues that arise in all of those relationships, and then your employment relationships with the folks that work in the branches and work in your various operational centers and so on. I went back and took a look, knowing we were going to talk this morning, at the bank operations cases that have come in here in the last just 30 days. And there's a lot of them. And they tend, the most common fall in three kinds of categories. There's what we call the faithless bookkeeper cases. And these are cases where someone has an employee, or often a family member or a friend, who somehow or other has access to the checks that they write in the ordinary course of their business, or the checks or incoming money they receive from their own customers in the ordinary course of business. And someone has gotten access to that, and they sometimes will forge endorsements on those checks. They will even take blank checks and forge the maker's signature and pay money to themselves. They will sometimes, you'll have an employee who will set up a payee, like a vendor, that's completely fake, and pay money to themselves. There is, at any given time, we have a good number of cases like that, sad to say. And so a customer will come into a bank, usually pretty upset, having discovered that for 6 months, a year or more, someone's been taking money out of the coffers. Those cases are highly technical. There's rules under the Uniform Commercial Code, statutes and regulations, but they're also very fact-rich. So you got to dive in, do the investigation, and find out what really happened in those cases. That's one kind of bank ops case that's very common. Then you have things that have to do with services the bank offers, like safe deposit boxes and certificates of deposit. It is not uncommon that a customer will come in and say, hey, I had precious diamonds and jewelry in my safe deposit box. I had $1 million in my safe deposit box. The nature of the safe deposit box business is the bank's not supposed to know what's in there. It's very private. It's between the customer and himself. And the bank tells a customer, we can't vouch safe for everything you're putting in the safe deposit box, so get insurance and so on. But these disputes arise nevertheless. That's not an uncommon kind of claim. And then the third sort of category that jumped out at me this morning was what we call branch altercations, where someone comes in and they're pretty upset about something and things get heated. Sometimes we get calls from bank employees or branch managers that they're being harassed personally on the street, calls to their home and whatnot. And we have to step in immediately and provide protection to those folks. Those kinds of things, and just about anything else that can happen in a branch, that's what we call bank operations.